Now, another one in Scripture, let's find Job and how well we know and appreciate Job so much. And we're going to go right there to the first chapter. And it just helps us to appreciate. In the first chapter here, verse 1 talks about this upright man of integrity. And verse 2 reveals that 7 sons and 3 daughters were born to him. And then all the livestock's mentioned. But this is quite interesting. In verse 4 of chapter 1, each of his sons would hold a banquet at his house on his own set day. Well, what's that all about? Well, we have the gift of the Insight book, as well as so many other references, but it's always been a blessed gift. And the Insight stated, it would seem that Job's 7 sons held a family gathering, possibly a spring or harvest festival, and as the feasting made the week-long circuit, each son hosted the banquet in his own house. That's a close family. They were all there, just such a close family that loved each other, just loved each other. See?
They just loved each other. There was so much love because they gathered together for these spring harvest festivals. Are these fertility festivals then? If they were spring or harvest festivals, Tony, why not just say in the verse they would gather together for spring harvest festivals? Then it's just obvious, isn't it? Then there's no ambiguity. We don't need to guess about these things. We don't need to use shady language like it would seem or possibly, meaning we don't have a clue. That's what the writers of the Insight book are really telling us when they use those sorts of words. They don't have a clue. They're just frantically trying to square the circle when there's a far more obvious explanation here, which is that when it's talking about Job's sons celebrating on their own set day, what it's talking about are birthdays. These were very likely birthday celebrations. In fact, if you look in the New International Version, I'm not going to include this as an example of the New World Translation being doctored, by the way, because as far as I can tell, the New International Version is the only Bible that renders this passage in this way. But it says, his sons used to hold feasts in their homes on their birthdays, and they would invite their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. Sort of makes sense, doesn't it? If it's to do with the spring or harvest, isn't that pagan? Isn't that some kind of fertility celebration? But if it's a day that's been set aside for celebrating a person, if it's their set day, of course it's going to be realistically their birthday. So I'm just going to leave that there, really, for any Jehovah's Witnesses who insist, and there are many who insist, that whenever the Bible describes birthdays, it does so in a negative light.